My pen go.
Mics are hot.
Steal Adrian's, he's not gonna be here. Oh, writing with it. Yeah. Jane took it. Yours is right there. Oh, well, I'll live. I think they're for all of us. I think we'll find out during citizens communications what they are. Did you get your something?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, it's good.
I'd like to use number 19 on the list right now, the temperature.
Is it too hot? Too cold?
Yeah.
I'm freezing out here, man.
It's 70.5.
I like it 72.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a 65. This is like this.
Okay, we got seven.
I felt- oh,
We got 7 o'clock. Everybody ready? All right, I have 7 o'clock. This is the Battleground City Council regular meeting for July 15th, 2024. For those able, please stand for the pledge.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
It's not there. Mr. Lilly, roll, please.
Mayor McCoy,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Bowman,
Here.
Councilmember Ferrer,
Present.
Councilmember DeRozier's,
Here.
Councilmember Cortez, Councilmember Davis,
Here.
Councilmember, Councilmember Overholser,
Here.
and the clerk is present. That concludes the roll.
Thank you so much. Next up, agenda approval. If any council member sees a reason to remove or add anything to the agenda, now would be the time. Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Deputy Mayor Bowman and a second by Councilmember Ferrer for agenda approval. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimously. All right, next up, we have council member reports. These are reports that council members sit on committees on behalf of the council. First up, we have the RTC meeting. Not a lot to report from me on that one. There were some communication plans and some Title VI information. But overall, not a lot to report out on that. Additionally, there was not a CDBG meeting, so I don't have a report on that one. I'll send it over to Councilmember Overholser for Echo report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We met on July 9th. We had a point in time count presentation from Council for the Homeless. And we also had the City of Vancouver Homelessness Emergency Situation Report. And I just had a couple numbers to throw out there from the sit rep.
Can you talk on the mic? Sorry.
Sorry, can you hear me now? My apologies, everybody. So just some numbers to throw out there from the Homelessness Emergency Situation Report. That we've lost 20 people since the homeless memorial, which was December 24 in December 23. 12 of those deaths were due to overdose. Over the last year, so from January 1 up till now, or I should say up till it was as of May 23rd, Vancouver Fire Department shows 955 unique calls related to homelessness, 69 fire calls, and 886 EMS rescue calls. Year to date, they've removed 181.06 tons of solid waste from public property. And then it just gives an update on the Safe Stays, Safe Park of the Outpost, Hope Village, 415 West, and the Kiggins Village are all showing promising numbers of residents exiting housing due to moving into permanent housing and approvals for Social Security, obtaining employment. So we actually have some pretty promising numbers coming out of those safe stays, which is going to help tremendously on that load of the 955 calls from Vancouver Fire. I was also made aware during the meeting that we can actually ask for our PD and maybe even our local fire to actually report and collect the data on the calls that are related to homelessness, so we can get a ratio here in the battleground area. So aside from that, we will have our next meeting next month and I'll report then.
Thank you, sir. And next up, C-Tran Board met, I believe. Councilmember Cortez is a member of that, or no? There was no meeting? Then we'll go to Discovery Clean Water Alliance, Deputy Mayor Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Discovery Clean Water met. One of the things I wanted to bring up is we're working on our 20-year plan, maybe further out to go along with the GMA, growth management. And one of the things that stood out to me as we're preparing our 20-year plan is the amount of money that we will be on the line for in the city of the Battleground. So we talk a lot about our parallel force main, which is budgeted around $40 million. But in the 20-year plan, the city of Battleground will be on the line for $96 million. That's plant expansions, that's outfalls, that's parallel force mains. So that's $5 million a year for the next 20 years that we're going to be on the line for. So roughly, now some of that they will try and, obviously we're going to try and get the best bang for our buck and try and get a little bit lower. But I think that's something we need to be looking, and we've done a good job as a city, but we need to be looking at that as our future. Sewer and water stop growth. So if we don't have sewer and water, we don't have growth. And if we have businesses come into town that need both sewer and water, that can eat up a lot of our capacity quickly. So as most of us aren't going to be here for 20 years, hopefully, but on this council, but we need to be thinking about that as we're looking at spending money on things and those type of things. We got a looming $100 million, $90 million, 96. So it'll be 100 by the time we get there. Bill coming up in 20 years. So if you remember when we did the outfall, the original price for the outfall, I think was $7 million roughly, and it came in at almost 14 by the time we did it. So these projections could be fairly conservative. They could be we could be way above this. So just to think about that as we go through budget and everything else, that's something we have coming. Thank you.
Any other additional council member reports tonight? Okay, moves us on to the mayor's report. Just have one item today, and that is the battleground representative to the Clark County Arts Commission, previously held by Steve Oglesby, was vacated on May 1st, 2024. On behalf of the city council, I'd like to express our gratitude to Mr. Oglesby for his service to our city. The Clark County Arts Commission is an 11-member volunteer board that promotes and supports the arts in Clark County. It works to raise awareness of the arts, improve access to public art, and support collaboration among arts patrons, artists, the business community, service groups, and cultural organizations. The commission also assists local artists and arts groups in securing grants and celebrates the creative talents of Clark County residents. Meetings are held the first Tuesday of each month at 5:30. I have scoured our fair city, and Craig McCurry, who is a local, has a film background. Is that fairly correct? He can weigh in on his experiences now, or I would entertain a motion to have him approved however the council sees fit, and get a representative on the Arts Commission.
Make a motion to appoint Craig McCory as battleground representative to the Clark County Arts Commission.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Overholzer and a second by Councilmember DeRochers. He will, I'm gonna make him give one at the end. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Craig, if you please would come up and tell us a little about yourself and
Well, I thank you, the mayor and the city council for the appointment. My name is Craig McCurry. I've worked as a filmmaker for about 35 years. I've worked in about 70 countries around the world, shooting a lot of times as a cinematographer, a film director, and a producer, doing not only documentaries, travel shows, as well as feature films. My last 3 feature films were about World War II. That were shot over in Hong Kong. I lived in Los Angeles for about 12 years and Hong Kong for about 10 years. And I'm now just a new resident of Battleground. I've started a group here in Battleground called the Battleground Film Meetup. We are meeting at the 6-8 Church every other month, trying to connect up filmmakers that are in the area. I always feel like there's a lot of talent all over the world and of course, all over Battleground and the surrounding areas. And I feel like sometimes it's just getting people together and meeting, and they can help collaborate together and make new opportunities for everybody here in the city. And art is a way to help kind of lead a life of kind of self-fulfillment and enrichment. And I look forward to helping this community as I live here and can contribute to the community in the months and years ahead. Thank you again.
thank you, Craig. Look forward to hearing from you in the future on what's going on over there. Actually, I lied. There is a second report on the mayor's report, and that's the AWC annual conference report. So does anybody want to share any learnings from that conference? I know I missed the first day, but had a pretty nice seminar. 3 of us went in increment financing that spawned some conversations. Essentially, if you have ground that has nothing on it, you can say, as the improvements come, we could put those increased taxes towards amenities. So it spawned some conversations amongst a few of us council members, and maybe it'll bring something forward, maybe not, but it was a good learning for me on that one. So if anybody wanted to share anything else, go for it.
The AWC conference days were a plethora of information, a great ability to network with other elected officials and city managers from all across the state. And I was super proud to be able to be the flag bearer for the city of Battleground. A proud moment for me. And I hope I did us justice.
We had the biggest flag.
All right. See no other brave souls. We'll turn it over to who's introducing. Is it Chris? Got it? It's like we have some new employees, or at least one.
Yes. Come on up here.
Who I
And
believe.
Councilmember Overholser, you rocked the Battleground flag. I've been to a number of those and you by far, that was the best I've seen. So good job. Council, I'd like to introduce to you our newest employee of the executive staff. This is Kelly Jensen. She actually started on July 1 as the executive assistant in the city manager's office. Kelly comes to us from the city of Longview, where she served over 7 years. Most of those years were as the public records officer and disclosure analyst for the police department before coming over and being the deputy city clerk over in City Hall about August of 2023. In 2018, notably, Kelly received her public records certification, and that was reportedly made you the very first person in all of Cowlitz County to receive that certification. Kelly attended Clark Community College, where she received her Associates of Arts and Applied Science and Paralegal degree. Now, Kelly is originally from Rolla, Missouri, but she's definitely lived most of her life in the Pacific Northwest. She and her husband live really right around the corner in La Center. And with their 2 beloved dogs, Gino and Harley. And Kelly has 5 adult children and 2 grandchildren. In her free time, she enjoys hiking, spending time with her family and friends. She's an avid sports fan. especially the Pittsburgh Penguins hockey. And we had a conversation about being a big fan of Detroit Tigers, didn't we? Today, adding that to your fan base. Kelly enjoys working in a team environment, especially enjoys helping others. I can certainly attest to that. We are so excited to have Kelly on board, and welcome to Battleground and to the team.
Public speaking wasn't on my resume. I am so grateful for the opportunity to serve a community that I absolutely love. And I'm very excited to be a part of and contribute to Team Battleground. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Kelly. I think Miss Halili, as all of us may be excited to have you here, I think Miss Halili is the most excited to have you here. And is it Missouri or Missouri? That's what I thought. You didn't want to, correct her, so. But we look forward to a long career here at Battleground. So welcome aboard. And Chief, looks like you're next up with the drone program.
So, about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, the mayor had spoken about basically the drone program. We called that's what the easy thing to call it is the drone program. Officially, it's called the Unmanned Aerial System. I just want to give you a brief highlight of what it is that we're doing and some of the successes that we've had. So, Rob, if you could, because it's not going to let me move it. So the first thing you might think is, how expensive are they? They're very expensive. You can buy them cheaply at Costco and Best Buy and a lot of other places. Those are the what we'll call more of a civilian version. There's a lot of limitations to these, but I think you're going to see technology continue to get better. Basically, the biggest issues that you have of this is some of the download capabilities, some of the camera capabilities, and certainly the inclement weather. Next, please. That's what we currently are flying and have had a couple mishaps with that I'll talk briefly about. Next, please. So what you see there is one of the higher models. It's certainly not the highest end model, but what's important to note is you got a long flight time. You can see where it says inclement weather. It allows you to fly in the wind and some rain. I still can't get a definitive answer of what 100 millimeters in 24 hours actually means, but there's some big, long explanation of that, but it means it can fly in the rain. You can see the different temperatures, but most importantly, there's a zoom, and I'll show you a couple examples of how we're using technology. Next, please. Two additions that we made to it, that both of these will come into play here in just a moment. You can do add-ons. So we've added a speaker to it, which they say broadcast 200 yards. It's a decent speaker. It's 200 yards, I think, is a push. It also has a spotlight. The downside when you add these is you can't add another piece that I'll talk about a little bit later. But these are certainly not toys. These are very, very functional, and I'll explain as we go along. Next, please. The interesting thing is Battleground's only been flying this for just over a year. We have 4 pilots right now. It sounds relatively easy. The first part of becoming a pilot is basically ground school that you have to complete. People go into it thinking, oh, this is an easy thing. I'll just go fly a drone. It's not that. There's a lot that goes into it. And then there's the application part where they're out there. So while we've had some good successes, they don't fly it all the time. They're learning, and we have made mistakes, but we're trying to get more pilots certified because you'll see some of what's capable. Next, please. So here's just a couple of those. The first one, this one, I figured I'd take you on a little walk of an easy one. This was just some knucklehead that was driving like a knucklehead in Walmart. Next. Typically what happens is the officers will show up when someone calls, and you'll see the cars just scatter. So who do you go after? Do you know which cars are involved? Next. So this time I said, let's use some of the technology. So on this one, pop up a drone and let's see what we can see before we send the cars in. Next. So if you just click on the center, you'll see the car in the center there. It'll zoom in as we get going. But this is one of the pilots that's running this from about a block away. And you can see he's just doing donuts in the parking lot. But when we get that call, you typically receive a call that you have several kids in the parking lot, one driving a white car and doing donuts in the parking lot. As you can see, that could be a lot of different people. So this time, said go up, let's get a lock on it. Now we know exactly which car it is. And you'll see the police car is going to come in on the bottom of the screen right there. Now, obviously, the kid hasn't opportunity to run, but we do at least now. Okay, we know exactly which car to get, and he's ours. Next, please. Hit it again. Now we'll start increasing some of the things that we deal with. This one, the guy had a knife, and he's going to flee the area and tell his loved one that he wants the cops to shoot him. So we know if we get too close too quickly, we call that suicide by cop. So we like to try to give people as much distance as we can. Next, please. So we track him to a field. It is pitch black in that area. I didn't know where that was. I had to go drive over there with the GPS to get there. And it is really, really dark. So on the left is what you would see during the day. The X marks where he's at. When you use night vision, it can be a little bit misleading with the terrain, but you don't worry, we'll show you a quick video here. The little ants there are our officers. He's not in a hole, but he's down almost like a little embankment. But by using the night vision on that, we know where he's at. We're able to direct the officers in. Go ahead, sir. Be able to direct the officers in. We pick him up and we're able to order him out. The only thing that a little misleading with that is you don't see they're behind concealment because there's no cover out there, but they direct him in and we take him into custody and everybody comes out of there safe. What a huge difference this is than walking through an open field, not knowing where somebody who is armed, who said that he's going to force you to shoot him, is located at. So he's easily taken into custody there. Next. This one I hope you'll find as rewarding as we did. This was a commercial burglary suspect. As we're getting close to the area, we know that he's fleeing on foot. So one of the officers, rather than trying to jam through there, got up there, launched the drone, and you'll see the bad guy running through the parking lot. Forgive me, they told me where it was. I forgot to put it on. So go ahead and click. So as you see it, you'll see he'll start as a little blip. He'll start towards the top left side of the screen, and you're going to see him running. He's the dark figure. You'll see him running through that field. You can see him. You'll start seeing the squad cars are going to come on the top left of your screen. He's about in the center right now. He would have gone over that fence, but because of the cover of darkness, he sees the patrol car that just stopped on the left side there. Patrol car doesn't see him because he's in the dark. He's now going to backtrack and run towards the right side of the screen, which allows the drone operator to tell him, guys, stop. He's running. He's in the center. Can somebody get on the other side of that complex? Hence that car racing around the other side. You're going to see him continue going to the right side of the screen. And he's going to duck into that white row, which is going to be a big line of trees and shrubs. And they'll lose sight of him for just a second. But again, this is the power of using the technology because it picks up his heat. So the officers are going to get close to him. And then if you just click to the next one out of that one, Rob, there you go. Now the drone operator is going to call them in. They'll start tightening that perimeter. And you're going to see right where that white row is in the center. He is in those bushes. The drone operator can see where he's at. You see the the two dark figures coming on the top of the screen. Those are the two uniform officers coming in. They realize, well, if he runs, he's probably going to run to the field to the right. So let me get a couple more cops over there. They're trying to tell them, all right, a few more steps, stop. No, start, stop. So you have a little bit of that game that's going on. But if you'll forward it just a little bit, Rob, I'm sorry, I should have cut that video a little bit more. You can take it 3/4 to the end. He's right there in the shrubs. You can see that small little gray, that's him. They're trying to explain to the officers, because remember, it's pitch black, where he's at, and they'll grab him out of there. Here comes the officers running through the field. We don't always eat donuts. And he's going to go over there. You see the whole pile starting to come. Everybody's converging, and we have a code 4 on that one. Next, please. This one, I think that you could say that just what we got on this one case alone is an argument for why we need to continue to invest and look into new technologies. This young man was very troubled. He wanted to kill himself. He had a .45 semi-automatic pistol, and he was walking with his girlfriend. We were able to, they had turned their phone off. We were able to get the last location that the gentleman was at. They launched the drone. They locked in on him. With the speaker, we were able to tell the young lady to turn their phone on. We were then able to give instructions for him to put the gun down. And you're going to see her take the gun out of his waistband, put it on the ground, and have them start walking away. Had we not had this technology, you have no way of approaching these people in a safe manner. So go ahead and on the next one, sir. So we've already made contact, and for privacy purposes, obviously we didn't record it to put on here. But we've instructed her, is it okay if you take the gun and put it down? That's a big 45.
That's scary.
But without this, our officers would have never known. And now we have distance from the weapon. Now we tell the officers to go ahead and move in. We never say that he's not armed. What we say is he has now been, that one gun has been removed. And then it allows them to get him and get him into mental health. So what we use, like I said, is the DJI product that was used in every one of these. All of these are our cases. Next. You can see they're expensive. They're about $17,000. We have had mishaps. 2 nights ago, because they're flying where it's pitch black, sometimes you don't see power lines and it gets tangled in the power lines. We have insurance. The down part of that is you can only make one claim. That's their insurance companies for a reason. So we are working through that. One of the other things that we're looking at adding, we are going to be using the drone this weekend. Because of the way it's set up, if you look at that system that is up on the screen, where that yellow piece is, that is a parachute. And and you can see they're not cheap. They're $4,500 for a parachute. The problem with that is if I put that on, I lose the speaker and I lose the spotlight. So we won't have time for this event this weekend, which is why primarily we're just going to use it straight up. But one of the things that trying to be responsible, next please, is this is the only thing that's not mine that I stole from their website. This is just 2 different demos of it falling out of the sky. They lose contact with it. In the second video that's starting there, you'll see these things will start to tumble, and the parachute will recover and bring it down, because I believe they're about 14 pounds, those drones. So thank God the incidents that we've had have been training mishaps, that the only thing damaged was the drone. But that thing coming out of the sky obviously can be a potential problem. So we're just looking at how can we build that into what we currently have to try to make what we use the safest possible for our officers and for our citizens. Next, please. And that's it. So I just wanted to give you an update because the mayor had asked. We're trying to use this as often as we can. Trying to make sure that this isn't something I can't rush. The officers have to be able to go through the school. Then they have to be able to go out and apply this on the calls that we can. You can't use it on every single call. You might have heard something called Drone as a First Responder, which is a very good program. My belief right now, we haven't got to that level yet. That basically allows somebody to launch and head to the calls when we can. Typically, the drone can beat the patrol cars there. With our call volume and what we're doing, I just don't see that we're at that level yet. I think as we continue to grow, we certainly can. But we just want to give you a good idea of vetting the technology that we have, because everybody says they can build a better mousetrap. What is truly out there? What is going to be best for our needs? Hopefully, knock on wood, when you see those type of examples, just the suicidal male alone, that potentially saved us from getting into a officer-involved shooting. So, any questions?
Thanks for the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Two things for you. Number one, if we do the parachute, are we able to interchange that? So go back to the speakers and use the parachute when you're just working crowds? Is
I
that-
believe so. I called and spoke to them. They're still developing the one for the model that we have because it's such a popular one. But I believe, yes, that is will be the case.
Okay. And then the second, I guess, question, suggestion, would love to see us look into. I think the county, in their drone program, has their rig set up for the operator or the operator's using goggles to run the drone, but it has live feed to a monitor in the back of the vehicle, and then they have their cases for battery chargers and all that stuff in the drone. We do not, correct?
That is correct. The county is ahead of us in what they're doing right now. All of that is basically, it can downlink the signal that you're seeing to a network. Ideally, it can even zap it down to your phone. All you need is a password.
Mhm.
So our hopes are that we will be able to use that this weekend and find some success with it. It's exposing the officers to what else is available other than we just go fly around and look for bad guys. But that is certainly something that I want us to look into. Right now, it's a little bit problematic only because with the manpower that's typically out there, right now I've only got one flying. I need another one to be his or her observer, and then who else can witness it? Because it sure is a lot easier if you can use your iPhone and see exactly what they see. It would have made that cat and mouse game that you saw a little quicker.
I would love to see, if you could, I know we're doing budget stuff right now, what that setup costs the county to
Yes, sir.
do, and so that we can prepare for that in the future, because I think it's a good, I know the county, I've heard from some officers in the county that it works really well, the way they have that. And I appreciate what you guys have done with it. When we implemented this and went away with the K-9 program, one of the things that we wanted was more opportunity for police officers to have different skill sets and different opportunities to use those skill sets. And the K-9, while it was a great program, it was one officer, and usually for 4, 5, 6 years sometimes it was their job. So this is awesome for recruitment. I think the new generation that is coming in, most of them is probably very natural for them to be able to handle this stuff and use it. And so I think it's a great program. Good job.
Thank you.
Just a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
don't know the ins and outs of the insurance, but a one claim max just seems unacceptable for, I'm sure, the rate that we pay for that. Is there, do you know, and I'm not expecting you to know, but you might know, is there any kind of warranty on the product?
Well, there's a warranty, for it functioning properly. It's typically operator error.
So
Uh,
manufacturer defect versus operator error.
Correct. We have had, a prior incident before I got here that it was a manufacturer issue. Manufacturer took care of it. And as the technology keeps getting better, I don't want to say it's foolproof because we've proved that. But certainly it does things that, it can detect objects. There's competitors, they have all kinds of stuff. It can fly up and has a thing that'll break the windows. It now has, one of the agencies has a system that you can actually put Narcan on it and fly it and drop Narcan to somebody. So the potential just continues to grow. It's just that we need to make sure that we're staying engaged because I don't want us chasing our tail and always trying to keep up with the best technology because I'm sure like everything else, there's a lot of junk that's out there and a lot of false promises. So far, everything that we've bought has proven effective. It's just making sure that we have enough officers that are properly trained and can keep that going. And yes, I was surprised when I heard, it's a one claim deal, but at $20,000 that they're insuring. The interesting thing is if you fly it and it flies towards a wall, it typically will do we'll see the object and not let you fly into it. There's just certain things like, guide wires that it won't pick up.
Thanks, Chief.
Yes, sir.
I do apologize if you already answered this question,
That's
but
okay.
how long's the training for each officer?
It depends. It's what they're comfortable getting through ground school. Because there's so much that's involved. Some of them, especially if they have any kind of prior experience, they can get through it in a couple weeks. Typically, it's about a month, I would say, for them to get through I think it's called a Part 107, is what initially gets them. But then it's got to be the OJT. They've got to get out there and get what we call stick time. They've got to start flying it, do low speed stuff. But we'll be able to continue to grow. What these offer, the Zoom capabilities, and hopefully we're going to be able to showcase that this weekend, that you can Zoom from here. You should easily be able to Zoom all the way down to Grace and read license plates. So we're going to make sure that we educate some of our drivers this weekend that we can do that.
I just wanted to thank you for having this awesome program where we have a greater opportunity to have positive outcomes. It's really important to me that we use options that are less lethal. So thank you for your efforts.
Thank you. And it's the officers. They've been out there, and it's hard. These are skills, and these skills can diminish. So making sure they have that time, but I'll pass that along. Councilwoman, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. I think it's very instructive that it helps or improves safety of not just the officers, but also our citizens. Seems like a win-win to me. I know last year that this council was asking, and this is a little bit of a subject change, but council was asking for a little more enforcement, a little more visibility. And I know every single report we've gotten this year has shown a huge spike in officer-initiated events. It's shown a decrease in actual reported dispatched crime. I think that correlates. That's just my non-professional opinion. But it makes it very easy when we see that type of effort from you and your officers to continue to support these programs and more programs. So thank you to you and yours for what you're doing out there.
I'll pass that along, Mayor. Thank you. It means a lot.
All right, this brings us to citizens communications. Looks like we have a couple people signed up. At least two of them are troublemakers, so I'm going to go through this. I will now open the meeting for citizens' communications. Individuals are limited to 3 minutes to provide comments. The total time for public comments shall not exceed 30 minutes. All comments should be directed to the city mayor. The council may not be able to respond to individual comments, but may refer citizens to a staff member to assist. This time is an opportunity to hear from members of the public in a limited public forum and not an opportunity for extended comments or dialogue. Although the city council desires to allow the opportunity for public comment, the business of the city must proceed in an orderly, timely manner. Ms. Lee, do we have anybody online that wanted to comment?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, then we will go to those that signed up. I have Andrew Webster regarding reducing speed on Grace. Andrea, probably, sorry. Okay. One more guess and I've been wrong 3 times.
So, Mr. Mayor and council members, I've come here tonight to ask the city to reduce the speed limit on Northeast Grace Avenue between Northeast 10th Street and Northeast 19th Way that turns into Creekside Heights. Currently, the speed limit as Grace heads out of town from Main Street, it's 25 miles per hour. But at Northeast 10th Street, the speed limit jumps to 50 miles per hour. And as you can imagine, people stomp on the gas. This made sense. The speed limits increasing to 50 miles an hour probably made sense when the town was smaller. But the population has grown and there are 2 housing developments. Thank you. One is Creekside Heights, and then across the street on the west side is the new Beverly development. And I've heard that the Beverly is proposed to be 950 homes. Not 900, excuse me, 350 homes, and building has already begun. Several homes are already completed, and I wouldn't be surprised if people were moved in by the end of August. Onsdorf Boulevard has recently opened all the way through to Grace. So the traffic on this road and at the intersection of Grace and Onsdorf has increased. And I expect the traffic to continue to increase as the homes are built and completed and occupied. There is a crosswalk on Northeast Grace at Onsdorf. And because the Beverly development has a large playground and picnic area, the crosswalk is getting increased use. This crosswalk is a short 350 yards from where the speed limit increases to 50 miles per hour. And I know this because I measured it. Also, in the last 6 months, I've seen 2 traffic accidents on Grace between Northeast 10th Street and Northeast 19th Way. So for the sake of safety and of both pedestrians and vehicles, the speed limit in this area needs to be reduced. And I propose reducing the speed limit to 35 miles an hour between Northeast 10th Street and Northeast 19th Way. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Webster, I'll get your comments on the record and we'll hand them off to engineering so that they have your full.
Okay, thank
right.
you.
Next up, we have Miss Lori Lindberg. Unless you wanted to make Sharon come up first. I suppose that's your.
Hello, I'm Lori Lindberg with the Battleground Senior Citizens, and I wish I could speed read like Troy. I'm going to try because this is a great letter and I want to be sure to get to the end of it here. This is from Debbie Fries with Home Instead. I am writing to provide information about Battleground Senior Citizens and the importance of their program to the community and Home Instead specifically. Battleground Senior Citizens, Inc. has partnered with Home Instead on Be Our Santa to a Senior program for the past few years. The program includes placing purple Christmas trees at specific tree locations with tags of names and gift wishes for low-income seniors who are shut in without family, in skilled nursing facilities, or otherwise would not receive a gift or show of care and support from anyone. The citizens who attend the monthly luncheons hosted by Battleground Senior Citizens, Inc. have contributed 100 of gifts, not only for Be a Santa to a Senior in December, but also in July when we do a Christmas in July sock drive for veterans at the Clark County Veterans Assistance Center. The amount of support we receive from the folks out in Battleground is nearly half of the overall contributions we receive from the rest of the community. They have been vital to our program. As an in-home care agency, we advocate for and educate the community about the importance of socialization as part of the overall brain health and well-being of the elderly aging in place in their homes and communities in which they live. We provide the very tips Battleground Senior Citizens is already doing to stay socially engaged and maintain a healthy brain and healthy body. Focus on the relationships and activities they enjoy most. Maintain social connections with people of different ages. Connect regularly with relatives, friends, and neighbors. Look for opportunities that allow them to pass along skills they have, example, volunteering, and challenge themselves by trying out organized clubs. Battleground Senior Citizen keeps expanding its programs by providing activities that promote socialization and truly relevant, important safety and education programs like Lunch and Learn, provided by Lori Hanson of Mortgage Express every month at no cost to the members who want to attend. This is a separate monthly luncheon that's supported by Battleground Senior Citizens. She teaches on topics to avoid fraud, scams, and other important decisions. During the luncheons, the speakers come in each month, educate about property taxes, benefits for senior homeowners, where they get free, gently used, durable medical equipment, and the importance of having legal documents in place like a power of attorney, will, and other important documents. I have attended nearly every monthly luncheon for 2 years, and there's nothing like this in Clark County, with roughly 150 in attendance. I am highly involved in the community with Meals on Wheels and dances at the Lupke and Furstenberg Community Centers, as well as the Washougal Community Center, and never has there been the amount of interest and attendance as there is at the monthly Battleground luncheons. The food donations they receive every month are phenomenal and go to the North County Food Bank, which helps to feed the community of Battleground. I cannot stress enough how important and crucial the work of Battleground Senior Citizens, Inc. is to the community, so much so that they just won an especially important award for Battleground Senior Heroes Award. Battleground Senior Citizens received multiple nominations along with other nonprofit organizations, and our highly esteemed selection committee chose Battleground Senior Citizens as the most deserving because of the work they do. The award comes with $1,000 innovation grant check to further their program, along with a trophy and a basket of donated items provided by the sponsors. I am the chairperson of the Senior Heroes Award and would be happy to answer any questions about this prestigious award. The award ceremony is on July 18th with approximately 200 people in attendance to honor and recognize the achievements of Battleground Senior Citizens and 9 other awardees. There will be photos and write-ups in the Columbian and most likely the Reflector. The work and commitment of each and every Battleground board member is critical to the success of the organization, and they do an amazing job, particularly important for social costs.
Thank you, Lori. Next up, we have Sharon Waukee. And it's not my birthday yet, so I'm guessing these are for all of council.
That is for that. Those are thank you cards for all of your help in the past years from all of our board members, or for some of our board members that were at the last board meeting. Just small bits of history is what I came here to share with some of the newer city council members. My name is Sharon Woodkey. I am the president of the Battleground Seniors. They are a nonprofit 501c3, all volunteer organization consisting of 14 board members, 4 of which are officers who oversee all the day-to-day activities. We have been operating here in Battleground for 49 years. With the help of the community and you, the city representatives, we have thrived and grown over the years. Prior to the pandemic, the senior center was hosting 25 to 30 seniors for a potluck once a month. The community event center was hosting 60 to 100 seniors to a hot meal 5 days a week, along with a variety of senior social activities. When the doors reopened in June of 2021, the Battleground Senior Center reopened with a catered lunch of 90+ people. The Community Event Center was no longer hosting a nutrition program or any senior activities. We grew quickly out of the senior center and began renting the Lewis River Room once a month at the community center for our catered lunch. We also started adding back activities at our senior center as we could find volunteer leads. In 2022, we were up to 250 participants. We also had to start our first RSVP holiday luncheon. By October of 2023, participant numbers rose to 400 plus, continuing to add additional educational, social activities, and free senior property tax assistance, Medicare signups, free tax services, all being brought back into Battleground. It is now 2024, and our participant numbers now exceed over 500. We are up to 11 free activities for our seniors, 99% of which are at the senior center. Over the last couple of years, we have seen the need for seniors to socialize, to be fed, to find services pertinent to them, and expand their circle. Thank you for continuing to make the Battleground seniors here in Battleground heroes.
Thank you. And congratulations on the award. Sorry I can't be there to see you receive it. It's well-deserved and well-earned.
Very much, all of you.
So we'll get those thank you cards away so everybody can take a look at them. Appreciate that. Was there anybody else that had citizens' comments to share that I don't have cards for?
I didn't turn a card in, but I'll grab the mic.
I
for a
guess there are
second.
three troublemakers then.
Yes, exactly. So first of all, to Lori and Sharon, they do a great job with the senior center. So I just wanted to put a kudo in there. To our new city manager, congratulations. Your stay and your glory is going to be great here. So we appreciate it. Third thing I want to talk about is Harvest Days is coming up this weekend. So I need to say to everybody, thank you. We have a whole bunch of volunteers in this room and you're much appreciated. And we hope Harvest Days goes off without a bang. So thank you, everybody. Have a great Harvest Days. Thank you.
Some bangs with the fireworks. So.
Hi, Troy. I did not sign up either. My name's Jessica Cole, and I just wanted to mention, talk about a comment that was at the last meeting about the new apartment complex coming in near Old Town. It starts with something something Creek.
Weaver Creek.
Thank you. And I know the typical requirement is 1.5 parking spaces per unit. And the request was to like decrease it. And they said some of the folks at the apartment complex might not actually drive, and that would be reason to consider that. And I went and I drove all around that area, and there's a lot of housing and there's a lot of cars there, and it's right by Old Town that's trying to be revitalized or being worked on being revitalized. And there's not a lot of parking down there already. And I would like you to consider having the whole 1.5 spaces per unit. That's just my request for you guys to consider. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, I believe that closes council communications. Next up, we have the consent agenda. Any member of the council see a reason to remove consent agenda for additional discussion? Otherwise, I entertain a motion for approval.
To approve.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Bowman, second by Councilmember Ferrer. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Ms. Lee, we have any communication regarding any business items?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, and I will pass it on to it's like Megan. Is this your show?
Yes. Good evening, council. Pleased to see you this evening to present. We're halfway through the year, so we're through Q2. So getting right into it, as always, we have our 24 different funds. We're not going to talk about all of these funds tonight. We're just going to go over the highlights and the overview. You do receive your monthly financials that go into much more detail. So if you ever have any questions about that, always feel free to reach out to me. So for sales tax, 4 months of activity in 2024. I thought that was my computer for a second, to be honest. So for general sales tax, we've collected 1.7 million compared to the same amount with some slight changes. So there's about a 1.1% decrease, which isn't significant. We're pretty much on steady for where we're at for this time of year. Public safety sales tax and criminal justice sales tax are also on par with last year with no real significant difference. The TBD sales tax is also a slight decrease, but it's not, again, significant. So we have about a 1% decrease across the board, but again, nothing to be concerned about. So looking at again, this just shows you the history of the annual distribution for the 4 months of activity. Obviously, 2023, 22, and 21 were significant jumps of sales tax for the city of Battle Ground. And so we're hopeful that continues. We did see some increase in some retail as well as food services, that folks are shopping locally and dining locally, which is fantastic. It went too fast. So looking at overall general sales tax revenue for what we have collected within the city of Battle Ground, a gross receipts of about 203 million for the 4 months of activity. We've sent about 13 million to the state, transit 1.4 million, the county 304,000, and then mental health, criminal, and public safety, all about $200,000. And then looking about where that comes from, this was a really interesting analysis for where this is coming from. We did see a 30% decrease in our construction industry. So a little bit of a decrease in the amount of construction going on in the city. However, if you look at the next line item down, we saw a 23% increase over last year for our food services. And we did see an almost 4% increase in our retail trade. So overall, we're doing very well in the industries that are sustainable and the ones that will continue. And then looking at our development activity, considering where mortgage rates are and kind of what the environment is for interest rates, you would have expected a little bit more of a decrease last year to this year, but we're actually one single family permit higher this year to date than we were last year. Obviously, we're not at the 22 and 21 permits, but we're definitely not lagging in the permit activity. Multifamily, we have not had any to date in 24, and then commercial, we have the same amount, 3 for new commercial. We've had tenant improvements and other commercial permits, but these are new businesses to the city. And then looking at what that means for dollars for development activity, our permit revenue is up in comparison to last year, about $10,000. Our plan checks, though, are significantly up, which means we are going to see an increase in actual building permits issued. Development review, we are down a little bit. This means the subdivision's getting ready for building. And then our transportation impact fees is down slightly. That's because we did have some credits on the books that folks are using. And then our park impact fees are down as well because we did have those 2 large multifamilies last year, which have an increased park impact fee. So then looking at our next big exciting item. So while mortgage rates are up, that also means that our investment rate is up. So we do have about 2 million across all funds in interest income compared to 1.4 last year at the same time, which in overall for all investments, we're at about a 4.5% return on investment. I don't anticipate that to continue forever. This is like a once in a lifetime thing, I feel like. So looking at our general fund overall, our revenues were at 45.9%, which is about on target for where we're at 50% into the year. Expenditures were at 35.1% overall, but that's because we do have some line items that as we continue throughout the year to get those projects done, we will continue to do so and that will increase. Looking at our general fund revenues, there's also another exciting line item I'd like to highlight. Our fines is up and it's actually at 92.5% of budget to actual, which this has been a steadily decreasing line item. And it definitely shows the effort that's gone forward with our police officers as well as code enforcement and getting out there and issuing some tickets to get us some of that fine revenue. And then looking at our expenditures by department, all departments are within budget. The only one that exceeds the target of 50% is the executive department. But again, that's where our WCIA insurance that pays for the entire year goes. So we pay that in the beginning of the year, and that's about $400,000. So that's why that's at 60.8%. And as you can see, we do have the facility project going on right now. Half this room is currently done with the carpet and it continues. And so that will continue and get done. And then we'll have the billings happen that hits the general fund as well. Looking at real estate excise tax, this is also a revenue stream. We weren't quite sure what was going to happen with it in 24, just again, because of the interest rates. But we're actually doing fairly well. We've collected $818,000 in REIT for 2024, which means we're up 11.8% June to June, which is a little surprising given, again, like we said, we didn't know what was going to happen with the interest rate environment, but folks are still buying houses and still moving. So then looking at our funds, the street fund, we are at 44.2% of budget to actual for revenues. For our expenditures, it is fairly low due to the fact that we're just getting into the significant repairs and preservation that's going to happen this summer and early fall. We do have communications ready to go for all of that work that Alicia has been working with and getting ready. So that should be ready at the end of the week. And then we'll be primed to go out soon to show the dates to our folks and where that activity is actually going to happen. Looking at our parks fund, our revenues are at 52.5% of budget to actual, which is fantastic. Our community center revenue is at 85% of what we expected for budget. And again, we're at 50%. So they continue to get rentals and it continues to be busy and a popular spot for people to come and rent. And then we should be breaking ground for Kiwanis soon this summer. So that's exciting as well. That doesn't hit the parks fund, but it is a parks related project. So that is very exciting, I think, for everyone in this room. And then moving on to our enterprise funds, looking at our storm drainage, our revenue is at 40.6% of budget. Our specific services line item is 48%. So that's our drainage fees that we collect. And then looking at our expenditures overall, we're at 28.4% of budget to actual. However, for just our operations, not including your capital, we're at 39% budget to actual. And then looking at our water fund, we are at 17.3% of budget to actual because we have a couple different grants in there for our revenues we're still expecting that are related to some capital projects. For our water services fees, we're at 58%. And then looking at our expenditures, again, this is another capital related item. We're at 16.2% of budget to actual. However, for operations without the capital and repairs, we're at 41% of budget to actual. Sewer fund, we are at 26.6% of budget to actual, but for our sewer services fees, we're at 52%. And then for our expenditures, we're at 37.9% overall. However, for operations, we're at 48%. So again, everything's on target within the 50% we would expect for this time of year. And then looking at our overall debt outstanding, again, we continue to have low debt. Overall, we have about $9.2 million citywide in debt outstanding. And then our composition of cash and investments, again, as we said, we like to invest as much as we can. Right now, LGIP has the highest return on investment. They're at about 5.5%, which is why that's where the majority of our funds are sitting. We were able to lock in, say, some 5-year bonds. That's those long-term investments at that same interest rate. So we should still, at least for a good chunk of our change, have those coming in for returns as well. So with that, are there any questions?
I don't know if we reported out, we did have the audit that came through. It came through clean, and there was 2 takeaways in that I think were really telling. One was our reserve fund. They recommended 60 days, and we were at 400.
420.
And the debt ratio, they recommended 12% max, and we were at,
I believe it was 2.
I want to say 3 to 5%, somewhere in there.
Yep.
So they were, I've been in a few of those exit interviews. I've never been in one that effusive. They were like, this is what everybody should look like. So congratulations for that and your whole team.
Thank you.
And this is just a reflection of that. So well done.
Thank you.
All right, brings us on to anything in administrative reports today, Ms. Swanson?
Well, just a couple of things. First, thanks to council for last week. I appreciate your support and choosing me to be your city manager. I was thinking about that song, Huey Lewis in the News, like happy to be stuck with you and me. So just wanted you to know that. And I was also happy as you were reading your report to contribute to the REIT since I bought a house here. Super excited about that. Harvest Days. So there's been some questions. I want you to know that Alicia sent a message out to staff on Friday, inviting them and their families to participate in the Harvest Day Parade. We gave them some information regarding what time it starts, where we're supposed to line up, entry number, and that was a voluntary event. So hopefully we have a handful, at least, of city staff and their family members to join us in that. Just a quick update. I keep checking with Grant, not every day, maybe every week. The polls for the season greeting sign, we're waiting on this one last piece and they're expected to be shipped on August 7th. So we are very determined to make sure that thing is hung up and that it's timely this year. And then last little point of personal privilege. It was quite a day for me because my son got drafted for the Detroit Tigers. And so I'm super excited and beside myself, but yeah, the 18-year-old and I will be going to Detroit next week to sign his contract. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Still a little heartbroken though. That brings us to council communications. I know we have a couple, so who wants to start us off?
Start. Mr. Mayor, we got two, just to echo Mr. Nzinga for Harvest Days coming up. Appreciate the people that have reached out to volunteer. We thought it was going to be cooler. I think we're about 2 degrees cooler than last year. So that's make sure that we're drinking plenty of fluids this week, so that we don't have some of the issues that we had last year. But I appreciate the help that we've had for Harvest Days. The second thing that I would like to bring up is to see if we as a council, I'd like to make a motion that we direct the mayor to write a letter of support for the fire district in their upcoming lid lift, to support it as a council and encourage our citizens to do the same, as they are partners with us in our public safety. We are not connected to them financially, but our citizens are, and we are too, because we live in this city. So I think it would be a good gesture to put a letter of support together, get that out as soon as possible, because ballots will be dropping next week. So I'd like to make a motion to do that, please. Yes.
It's a motion by Deputy Mayor Bowman and a second by Councilmember DeRochers. Do we want any discussion, or do we just want to give direction, or is a motion in order here? Absolutely. Or is either fine? Since,
A motion is on the table, Mr.
okay.
Mayor.
Yeah. So any discussion we want to ask questions about? Well, this is, I mean, it's. I mean, I don't know as much about it as Deputy Mayor Bowman, but I do know that their request for calls has gone way up, whereas their staffing has not. They run into the same issue that everybody does with the 1% every year. And obviously if inflation's 6% and you're only raising 1% at some point, the dog never catches the rabbit in the track kind of thing. So.
Well, their revenues are only from sales tax. I mean, from property tax. We have different pots of revenues. So theirs is tied to sales tax directly. And so, or property tax, sorry. And so they have to continue to do this every 5, 6, 7 years and do a lid lift.
Yes.
Well, I was gonna say, as part of the discussion, we do have District 3 chief in the audience, if he could come up and explain that in a brief synopsis, so everyone on the council understands what that lid lift is about. Is that okay?
Chief, you willing?
Not to put you on the spot. Sorry, Mr. Sorensen.
Glad to do it. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm Scott Sorensen, Fire Chief with Fire District 3. And our last levy was in 2017. And that ran for 6 years and now has expired. Actually, it expired last year. And so now we're down to the 1% limitation that was discussed here. And as you know, costs have gone up more than 1%. So we are requesting the voters to consider this measure. And what it will do will be to improve our staffing, and allow us to do some work on buildings, replace equipment, and hire more paramedics. So all in all, we've invested a lot of money and time into this service over many years. And working with the city, we did do the annexation several years ago. That's been a successful opportunity for the community. And with this request, we will assure that we'll move into the next few years with a decent service level for the community. A couple of things that could happen if we don't pass it, and that is lose additional personnel. We've lost 2 positions that we've not replaced because we're waiting to see the results of this ballot measure. We could lose more in the future. That would slow response times, it would lower service levels, and it could also increase our insurance surveying rating bureau grading, which in the end increases insurance rates. So it's an important measure. Our board has put a lot of time and effort into considering which way to go here. Like I said, it failed last year, so we need it. So we're running it again, and that's the short story. So I'm open for questions if you have any.
I have something more of a comment. I'm very supportive of the levy lid lift, and one of the things that's really important to me is that you guys are able to meet the state minimum staffing for calls. I know that that's been a big issue that you're unable to meet. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Is it like with the police where they have like, you're supposed to have X amount of personnel per 1,000 citizens?
Well, there are standards. I think the easiest one to compare to is the local standard with the departments that are staffed, generally, respond with staffing in stations. And that is 3, and we're at 2. Our minimum is 2. The problem that creates is that when we arrive on certain call types, we're not able to take action until we have 3rd and 4th responder there. So the example I can give you is a structure fire. We arrive with 2, and let's say we have a known rescue. With a known rescue, we can make entry and take action as long as we have 1 responder outside for the safety of the responders entering the structure. If we don't have a 3rd, then we have to wait for that other unit to get there. So that is time, and time is of the essence. So that's where it's not safe for the community, and it's not safe for our personnel. So that is one of the things we want to accomplish with this ballot measure as well.
Is this the same one as last time that failed? It was like, what was it like? It was going to cost the average homeowner, if you're, let's say average is $500,000, it's $50 for the year, right? So it's like $4.
It's actually 14, 17 a month for a $500,000 home.
Okay.
It did go up a little bit this year over last year because we're a year later. And as the assessed value goes up in the community, the millage rate drops. And so the gap gets wider as the farther we go. It's going to cost more the longer we wait.
I'm just wondering if it would benefit us to have him come in and speak sometimes. I mean, we get to hear your guys' updates and how, the great job that you're doing and hear your struggles too, if we would be able to get something like that from you guys. Well, because I'm honestly, I don't
Absolutely.
know what your staff is, what your, all that stuff is.
We would welcome that.
Council, one thing that Chief, when we signed the agreement with you to partner with us before we did the annexation, what year was that?
That
Remember?
was in 15 and we started January 1, 2016.
Okay. So since January 1, 2016, our citizens in the city of Battle Ground have paid less millage rate than they did in December of 2015. In December of 2015, from the time Mr. Cortez and I got on council in 2012, we started out at 125. We were at 150 max by 2015. And Fire District 3 came in. We went out for an RFQ. They came in. They put more staffing in, bought a ladder truck, provided better service that they were already providing to our city as a mutual aid, by the way. So they were already coming out here and not being compensated for it because of mutual aid. Saved the city over $1 million before we ever went out to the annexation. And that's where we got to the point where it was kind of a trial period to see if they could work with us, if we could work with them. We were adding 100% to their district. We were doubling their district. And the call volume, if you look at the call volume as we have an aging population, it's starting to become more and more. And Mr. Overhauser, you know this on EMS too, where we're at with emergency calls and what that entails. And so when we're talking EMS too, and the fire district gets called out and they sit at a nursing facility or a facility waiting for transport for ambulances, that's more and more time that they're not able to respond to other calls. And so this will be the first time that we are back to the $1.50 since 2015. So all the growth that we've had, all the calls that we've had are greater than they were in 2015. And so that's a little bit of history of kind of where we came from with this and where we're at today and why we had this partnership with Fire District 3 and then eventually annexed in.
I believe our neighboring district's at over 1.5, is it not?
Pardon
Six,
me?
is it like 1.6 or 1.7, District 6?
For the millage rate, yeah, they've been at 150 and they're going for 150 again to get it back to 150. So is Clark Cowlitz.
Any other discussion?
Just a quick comment, for everybody watching online or sitting in the crowd over there. Public safety is one thing that we shouldn't shortcut. And as Deputy Mayor Bowman had mentioned, I get to work with Mr. Sorensen on EMS 2, and every minute counts. And so if we're having a hard time deciding where to spend our money, this is one place that I don't think we should have a hard time making the decision. And I think every citizen in this city and just outside the city that's serviced by District 3 can appreciate a quick response time and efficiency on the site, get the transport done, minutes save lives, and those guys can go respond to another call. I've met a lot of people from District 3 in the stations, and I appreciate every one of them. Great group of guys you have there, and hopefully we can help build a robust team for quicker response times. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Very helpful.
Appreciate it.
All right, I have a motion on the floor with a second. Seeing no further discussion, we'll take a vote. Or we can just do it verbally. Yeah, okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, I don't see, Mr. Cortez, but, we will, take it as unanimous consent. How's that? I will work with, the city to draft some appropriate language and, rely on our, public relations team to help me out there.
Can I make a quick suggestion, Mr. McCoy?
Sure.
Or Mayor? If we could, we all have different people that we're associated with as electeds. If we could take the opportunity in your different platforms, different areas to reach out to people. The district has put out a lot of good stuff on YouTube and different things that they're putting out right now, just to share those so that people know. It was a very close vote last time, 150 the other way, and it would have been a different outcome. So
So I'm excited to see how it's laid out this time.
thank you.
Ms. Davis, anything to share? Oh, I think you do. Ms. Davis, put out some money for candy at the parade. I hope everybody chips in. She's, funded that, so, don't leave her hanging on that. That's coming out of her own pocket. That's not city funds.
This
year. So, Do you have a
wagon?
Yeah, I got, we both have wagons.
You guys have wagons? Okay.
Yes, bubbles.
Yes.
She is the cat herder when it comes to our parade. So I have one other item that I did give council a heads up on. This is kind of an evolving issue. I don't know where it's going to end up, but right now the county council is considering raising taxes for public safety. Some of the council members that were here last year will remember that they instituted a 0.1 sales tax increase. Wasn't communicated extremely well. They came to us after the fact. There's talk of maybe another 0.2% increase that they need because Vancouver's adding police officers and it may cost them between 11 and $20 million in court costs. So therefore they want to potentially implement a 0.2% sales tax to help fill that in. That would be about $15 million to them. So that would be monies coming out of the city of Battleground for that cause. What I would like to ask council is just direction or from council on having me advocate against the county going for the sales tax. I would much rather them go for levy lid lift, which would be on the county taxpayers and would not impact the city of Battleground. In my opinion, somebody who came from the school board, I know the county can't even staff the SRO at Prairie High School because they don't have enough officers. They have the lowest number of officers of any county in the state. I believe they're missing an opportunity to actually fully fund their police. I would like to see us try to convince them that the sales tax is not the route, that perhaps they should consider the levy lid lift and try to get on the front end of this conversation. If for some reason that's not successful, I would like us to go forward with a 0.1 public safety sales tax of our own if we have to. So at least then the money stays in Battleground because we would get 85% of that. Instead of this goes through on them, we get 40% of it. So I'm not real interested in having the citizens of Battleground fund them in this manner. I don't think that this council is interested in increasing sales tax for this purpose. We don't need our police are fully funded. We have 2 overhires. So this is not something I see this council doing. So I think it benefits us to advocate for the lid lift and not the sales tax. So I'm looking for council direction on this. And Cherish, yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, I just have a clarifying question. So when they talk about court fees for the city of Vancouver, do they not get billed like we do from the county and we pay our fair share?
I had the same question. I just know I watched the council meeting and that's what was said. So I can't speak to the validity of it. I just know that that was the reasoning.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And they also need a new jail. I mean, there's a lot of things they need. So
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. I just know that that's the reasoning for where we're at. Deputy Mayor Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I support this. I support you in doing this. I think this is the consequence of not at least taking your 1% for the, however many years that they didn't do that. And so, if they're going to go out, they should do a lid lift and, it shouldn't be on the citizens of Battleground. This was the conversation we had last year that we have already fully funded police. They have not, and they're going to continue to do this. So if they're going to go out for a vote, they should ask their own people for it. And then, if that is the case, I think we need to go out and try and protect that money for our own agencies and not continue to ship it off to the county. Thank you.
Just wanting to get a little clarification. That was discussed in the county council meeting today,
Last Wednesday, I believe.
last Wednesday, and were they just talking about?
They're
doing something, getting
considering it.
something on the agenda?
They want to do it at the same time. The public safety sales tax has to be on a general or a primary election, so they have to get this in by August. So they're kind of rushing it because of that. Which means we would have to rush it
Yeah.
as well. Nothing's been decided. However, they're discussing it, which to my point is a good time to get in front of it from our perspective and get our thoughts. It was, one counselor did mention to them that, hey, you guys, you realize Battleground was against us last time. So that was talked about.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'd like to summarize. I watched the meeting as
Okay.
well, so just like to make sure I understood everything correctly. And so, yeah, it originally started, my understanding was it actually came to them because they heard about City of Vancouver was talking about this law enforcement levy lift. And Vancouver was just discussing their resolution last Monday, I believe. And that's why I think it's Kathleen Otto. She was like, I do apologize. I didn't get to do a lot of work on this in regards to talking to the sheriff department and what this implementation would be. And so, but there was a young gentleman that was also, I don't know if it was her assistant or whatnot. He said we could bring this back in February if we wanted to during a special meeting. We don't have to necessarily go this route right now. It was definitely, wavering in between the council. You had two that were not in support of it at all. And then you had three who were supportive of it, but even them, two of them felt like it should be the levy lift. And one of them thought it should be the sales tax, the public.
I
and
caught
that
three
was,
on sales tax and
What's
two.
that?
I caught 3 on sales tax and 2 on levy lid lift.
oh yeah, when they decided, right? When they decided, well, we're not gonna, obviously it's gonna get pushed through. So then you're right. Yeah, it did end up going 3 against the 2. So, and then the sheriff, he had, so it mentioned that I took some notes. So, a lot of information that was at that meeting. Vancouver is, I put Vancouver's walking away. Oh, no. Levy lid lift. It was there. So they're talking right now about either doing the 0.10 per 1,000, which would give them about 10.5 million. And the cost on average for a $500,000 home would be that $50 that I was just saying. So if that was my concern, not knowing for sure what the answer is to her question, if this goes through, we push on this, are we going to be doing 50 for now the fire if
What-
that gets passed and now 50?
I'm confused on what
top
you're
of
talking about.
this? Sorry, I'm going, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
See, this is-
We're certain that's gonna be for the county citizens, it's not gonna touch us. So,
So yeah, for the city of Vancouver lid lift doesn't touch us and
well, I know the Vancouver doesn't,
Neither does the
but,
county.
so if the
And
county, then.
would not touch us at all.
40,
No, the 60/40 is the sales tax split.
right,
The lid lift is just for this county. That is not the Battleground because none of
Okay,
the benefit.
okay.
So what happens with the sales tax is they add 0.1 countywide. Then they take that revenue and they say 60% of that goes to the county, 40% goes to cities based on population.
population.
So they do no other calculation.
Mhm.
And so we're getting revenue that we didn't ask for that we don't need. But they're still taxing our citizens. If they did the lid lift, they're not taxing the citizens of Battleground.
Mhm, mhm.
They're taxing their own people for their own benefit. Now, if we needed, or we thought we wanted that 0.1, then we can let them run the ballot measure and we get the revenue.
Okay.
That's really the decision point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I.
It's very
always-
confusing.
I-
I'm not gonna lie. It's not,
Well, and listening to their meeting,
Was-
it was difficult. It's
and it makes us look like rock
like,
stars.
Get to ask the questions along the way, but yeah, I'm definitely not in agreement with raising taxes for our citizens for, sales tax and all that. So, yeah.
I have a question on, as far as, time frame of Battleground going to the county and saying, do a lid lift. They talk about it, what's the time frame coming back to us and our decision. I find it, frustrating that we're feeling rushed on this. And not saying that it's intentional, but when I feel something this big's coming, my first thing is, okay, I need to see the big picture. So I'd really like to know, what time frame are we talking about? You go back to council, county council, and then when do?
Well, I mean,
Are we talking our next meeting? Are we talking?
yeah, if not before, and we don't know the timing as far as when a resolution would have to be in if we were actually to go out for a sales tax. I've also heard a different, I talked to somebody in the finance and they said there's a potential that if we come last, we can still get the 85% even later, just within the city. So there's a lot of different competing, opinions out there. That was from Mr. Gasaway from the county.
Well, so I talked to the Department of Revenue today, who actually handles this tax and so forth. And based on the statute itself, if the county was to get up to the or the statute maximum of 0.3%, even if we were, if they were to go to ballot in November with the 0.2% and we were to go with a 0.1%, they would trump us and we would not be able to get any tax at that 85%. Now, if they go for a 0.1% and then so they have a total of 0.2, then we could go after the 0.1%. So cities are limited to 0.1%. The county can go all the way up to 0.3%. But even if we went at the same time, the county would trump us for that. If we had imposed the original public safety tax first, Mr. Gasaway is correct. They would have to allow us to do the 0.1%. But the way the statute's written, because they imposed it first, if they get up to the 0.3, we aren't ever able to get that 0.1%.
And just to get back to your rush, I agree. And that's why it just came up in the meeting this week. I just watched it on Friday. I mean, I agree with you that it is rushed and they are rushing it because they have to get it in August in order to make the November ballot.
What they did last.
And it's,
Yeah, I think it's August 6th.
yeah.
I called the
And,
auditor's
and
office.
right
today.
now, all I'm asking for council is just authority to talk on council's behalf against them doing the 0.2 sales tax. That's what I'm asking for. If things change and whatever opinions are out there about running our own levy, we can cross that bridge if and when we come to it. But for now, I'd just like to get council's approval to talk on your behalf against the 0.2.
Another point of clarification, we would be talking against the 0.2 or a point against any increase
Just
whatsoever.
for me, it's just against the 0.2, because if they want to go do a lid lift and talk to their own citizens and advocate.
That's fine.
That's on them.
I mean,
I would be ambivalent about that. I don't think we take a position on that.
Right.
so, but again, point of clarification, say they want to do a 0.1, we're still against that, correct?
Well,
They
I
can
would,
go lid lift if they want to do that. They should
That
not
would-
be imposing a increase automatically on the tax.
that's my personal
Okay.
preference. I'm looking
I
for
agree.
council direction.
The lid lift, if the county does that, does impact us. The cities pay into the county general fund. They don't pay into the county road tax. But the lid lift affects the general.
But we do get to write property taxes off on our income tax at least. Oh, interesting. The general, so it comes off the general millage rate then.
Yeah, they impose two different taxing, property tax, the general and then the road, which the road is everybody in the unincorporated areas.
Well, this is the issue with rushing everything.
So I think this is what's gonna happen again, because Vancouver did not come out against this last time. Because and here's why they do this.
Free money.
Well, yeah, it's free money. They let the county go be the bad guys, and then we get the money from it, right? We get 40% or whatever, and we don't have to be the bad guy. So I think that's probably what's gonna happen again is the other cities who aren't fully funding or are still trying to do it, they're like, dude, this is free money. You know, we're gonna get 40% and we don't have to do anything. So, but I still think it's good to put it on the record. I still think it's good to tell them that, you know, this isn't the way to go. But, you know, it's gonna take some more information for sure.
Well, how about this? At the very least, we can advocate for them slowing down because so we can get more information, have more time to study it, because if this is the point two, then let's talk about it and collaborate with the county instead of just hearing what's happening.
Cause that's what they did to us last time. They just said, hey, this is on the ballot. What do you guys think?
Well, it's already on
And
the
that
ballot.
came up
now.
at the meeting
Yeah.
too. That
It's
came
on
up
the-
in the meeting too, yeah.
Yeah, so,
They said Battleground wasn't happy with that.
Yeah.
Well, for myself, I fully authorize you to speak on behalf of, for me as a,
well, let's just do
Elected
thumbs up. I
official.
mean, if you don't. Yeah, okay, all right. I'll have some conversations. I don't know how fruitful they'll be, but at the very least, maybe we can slow down and have a collaborative approach to it.
Well, and he's supposed to be having, the chair's supposed to be having some more conversations, more data and statistics
Yeah.
given to him, and I think
They-
tomorrow.
They had not made a final decision. That's why I
Exactly,
thought
yeah.
this was appropriate time
And
for
I-
us.
And I called the auditor's office. They have until August 6th to put in a resolution too,
Correct.
so, yeah.
Correct,
By the
but
November ballot.
all right. So anything else? Sorry for that. Again, I agree with Councilmember Davis. This is rushed. We don't have all the information, but it's not of our making. So pursuant to RCW 42.30.110 sub 1 sub G, the city council will enter executive session to evaluate qualifications of applicant for public employment and to review the performance of an employee. The session will last 10 minutes, commencing at 8:40 and ending at 8:50 with no action to follow. Monday, August 5th. Study session is at 6. That's not budget. That's a normal study session. Regular meeting at 7. This meeting's adjourned at 8:51. Thank you.